Have you used Find Your Match in your social studies classroom? We know that students need time for reflection. Our young learners need at least 2 minutes of reflection for every 10 minutes of instruction. But how does Find Your Match play into that? Let's go. Let's figure it out. You're going to just do what you always do. You're going to be the best teacher ever. You're going to deliver and help walk your students through that great lesson that's teaching your content, of course, based off of your standards. But before you even do that, you're going to be intentional and you're going to think, what do I want my students to remember? What's that takeaway that I want them to have? And you're going to make your matches using those things. So, what in the world is that going to look like? It could be same term to same term. So if you're teaching about George Washington Carver, you might be pairing the words crop rotation to crop rotation or the image crop rotation to crop rotation. If you're doing term to image, you might have the term crop rotation paired to an image of crop rotation. If you're doing like terms or connections, you might want to do George Washington Carver, plant doctor. If your students are old enough, you could even pair the term and the definition. All depends on the needs of your students. So, speaking of that, you want to think through, will your students need picture support? If you are doing working with K1 students, I say yes, they probably are going to need that picture support. But we also know that students with disabilities and English learners all benefit from picture support. So, if you ask me, I say yes, picture support always. The next thing you're probably going to need to think through is, what are your matches going to look like? Are you going to need two-way matches or three-way matches? Meaning, are you going to make a match with two cards or are you going to make a match with three cards? That all depends on the makeup of your classroom. So, what are students going to do? The first thing you're going to do is give each student a card. I always have my students keep their card to themselves. Then you're going to have students walk around the room to find their match. Once they found their match, they're going to talk about their match and how they fit together and kind of define that term or that relevance of their match. And then you're going to have students share what they know with the whole group. But stop. Pump the brakes for just a minute. If you have never done this before, you might want to consider starting with matches that are not related to content. For example, I might use something like hot and cold, peanut butter and jelly, Batman and Robin, up and down, something that has a connection. You also could do something like math problems, present a problem and the solution. You could even do sight words where students have to find the sight words and then read the sight words to one another. When you finish with that, you want to make sure that you give students time to share and reflect with the group, with the whole class, and then wrap up personally in their interactive notebook or journal. They could go back and write or draw about the things that they have remembered or practiced in the lesson. I would love for you to join us again next time. You can access us through Godot Community or through our Godot Facebook page. My email is there for you on the screen as well. See you next time.